quest continues on the Noise Report, and I gotta say I struggled with this one this week, so I know that you're gonna carry the show, and I can't wait to get into it.
I'm gonna try. Why did you struggle? So we're talking about Sevendust, particularly the album Animosity, their third one from 2001. This came out while we were in college. We were playing that album, so I know you were familiar with that, but you didn't really keep up with Sevendust after that?
Right. Like for me, like Sevendust was our radio show.
Yeah.
And I was telling my daughter about this, like the Venn diagram of music that you like, that I like, there's a lot of overlap. Like we share a lot in common. And I think part of that is because there were things that we always agreed on. There were things that we would stretch each other to like, check this out. And because Matt said, check this out, I would check it out. If it had been somebody else, I would have been like, no, I'm good. Right.
Yeah, same.
And so we grew together. And so our Venn diagram overlaps a lot. And I think there's been some growth since we last recorded together all those years ago. Our own musical tastes have kind of diverged, and we weren't doing it together, but we found similar paths, ironically. But with Sevendust, basically, like I listened to it because you listened to it, and then that was it. Like when we graduated from college and went our separate ways, and you went off to do your radio thing, and I was bouncing at bars, like we weren't cross-pollinating anymore. And so I didn't continue with the Sevendust thing. And so when you mentioned it, I was like, ooh, I'm going to have to like dust off the cobwebs and go back.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I did. I mean, this came out in 2001.
Yep.
It was on TVT Records, and I was surprised it made number 28 on the Billboard Top 200.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was surprised by, it only made gold. Like, so even though it made it that high in the rankings, the sales didn't translate.
Yeah.
I
don't know why.
Right?
I just feel like Sevendust has always been kind of underrated. I know when you think back to that time period, and you're looking at nu metal specifically, there were the big bands, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. Those were just like the mainstream upper stratosphere. And there were plenty of other bands.
Yeah.
Some were okay, some were terrible. And with a lot of nu metal, I feel like a lot of bands, they got lumped in, even though they weren't really part of that. But for whatever reason, Sevendust got in there. I would consider them more of like groove metal.
Yeah, I was reading that LeJean Witherspoon was saying that like I've been thinking about this for years and I can't figure out what we are. Like at one point people were calling us progressive for like 5 minutes, and then suddenly we were nu metal. Like I do think it's unfair that they got lumped in with that crew.
Right. And
the vocals are such a key part of this band. LeJean's vocals are amazing. He cites Ronnie James Dio as an influence. I'd love to hear a Rainbow in the Dark cover by Sevendust or Holy Diver.
Yeah.
Like one of those tracks covered by Sevendust, I think would be amazing. I also think it's unfair that they got lumped in nu metal because of that, because there were a lot of other bands around that time that had amazing lead vocals, but because they were amazing lead vocals, they got pushed into like the poppy rock category more than they did the metal. So like Creed is making a resurgence right now, right? On like Gen Z is like found Creed and makes fun of divorced dad rock and puts Creed in all their videos. And it's funny.
Yeah.
But they were huge. They were gigantic. And there's no reason Sevendust couldn't have been that big. I was thinking about it. I was listening to the Animosity album and I was listening to their new album that just came out.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no reason that my daughter wouldn't love this. And so I brought it up to her and I was like, why wouldn't people like this band? You got to really, when LeJean was younger in the 1999, 2001 era, super attractive, amazing vocals. Like he should have cornered the hot goth girl market.
Yeah.
There should have been women for days lined up to see Sevendust. And the example my daughter came back at me with was Sleep Token. Their lead singer has a thing. Like even though he's masked, like that demographic really likes that music, and it's huge. And like, there's no reason why Sevendust couldn't have been that, but they weren't. It like makes no sense. So I agree with you. I think they're underrated, and I think they were undermarketed. And I was blown away with how many albums they had.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, I listened in like the early 2000s with you, and then I stopped. But they've been putting out music all that time, and like you were saying, they've been touring that whole time.
Yes. So the reason I wanted to do this album now is because I just saw them on tour, and it was first time I've seen them in a full concert. The only other time I've seen them was on a festival, so I didn't even get to see their whole set, so I only saw a handful of songs, and this was in the late 90s. So they've had a ton of music since then. And they put on an absolutely fantastic show. It was at Manchester Music Hall in Lexington, Kentucky, same place I saw Clutch and Corrosion of Conformity. They were great. I managed to get pretty close, like not front row, but I was out up there. So I had a great spot to see the band, but also, looking over my shoulder for all the crowd surfers, because that was constant throughout the show. And they did put out an album just less than a week ago at the time of this recording. The album's called One, and I forget, I think it's like the 15th album or something. They have,
Right.
like you said, a ton. They are absolute workhorses. As underrated as they are, they just they don't let that deter them. They
No.
just keep making good music, and it's consistently good. Now, I will admit, there is an era of Sevendust that I really love. There's a handful of albums where I'm like, it's okay. Doesn't really reach out and grab me, but it's never been bad.
Right.
You can always count on their music being at least good, like good enough to put it on, enjoy it. Maybe you don't go back to it a lot, but they've never been bad as far as I'm concerned.
Going back and listening to Animosity, there were 3 tracks, and I was like, I remember listening to these, but they didn't stick with me. Like, I remember listening to them being like, so like Angel's Son, I know you and I played that song, and I know it was on the radio, and I remember listening to it and not like changing the channel. Praise and Live Again, those are solid songs. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. So it's weird. Like, I can't even point at myself and say, okay, why don't you like Sevendust more? I don't know. Like, I don't know why they didn't stick to me. I don't know why it wasn't something that I was like, oh, this is a band I should follow. And maybe it was just the time, and maybe it was because nu metal was so everywhere. And then it became trendy after nu metal became huge to kind of dunk on nu metal and kind of crap on it.
It's
right. And
like
so
many things, it reaches saturation and everyone gets sick of it. And then they say how terrible it is. And then it comes back around. And I wonder if part of why they didn't get so big was because they got categorized as nu metal, and the people who loved Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Korn, like, okay, I'll check it out. Oh, this doesn't sound anything like that.
right.
And they kind of dismissed it. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. The other thing is, like, you remember The Cult of Personality by Living Colour.
Yes.
If you had told 15-year-old Brian that lead singer was going to start this new band called Sevendust, and then you played the Sevendust album, I would be like, oh, wow, this is really good. But right? Like, I would not have known. The vocals are very similar, and that album was huge. And that came out much earlier than Sevendust. And there's, like, again, it's one of those things. It's like, that was massive. Why wouldn't Sevendust be massive? It's got all the same stuff. Like,
yeah. I can see that that Living Colour connection, because LaJean Witherspoon, singer of Sevendust, prior to joining them, he was in a band called Body and Soul, and that was more of a funk rock type band. So that's where they would sound a little more like Living Colour or early Faith No More, things like
right.
that.
Faith No More would be another great example. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know why they're not as big as you'd think they would be, but they do have a very loyal following. Now, I took some clips while I was at the show, and I posted one of them so far on the Noise Reports YouTube channel. It got a lot of views, A lot of comments, people just saying how awesome they are. Just Lejean's voice or Morgan Rose's drumming is fantastic and stuff like that. Like they bring out a lot of enthusiasm for being not at that upper tier.
And you mentioned they were workhorses, right? And you can see it
Mm-hmm.
in their albums and you can see it in their tour schedule.
Yeah.
They all have side projects. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they had all these side projects, but they're like busy other places too. It's not, it's, I don't want to call them workaholics, but they've got the right recipe. They're disciplined and they're diligent and they produce constantly. They're just always putting themselves out there and always doing creative things and always working with other people. And
I
like,
just heard Lejean is working on a solo album. Like his first one, he said something about Nashville. I think it might even be more of like a country influence one. He said he was working with some of the people who work with Jelly Roll.
well, it worked for Darius Rucker. Like, I hope
Sure.
it works for LeJohn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Sure.
I could totally see him doing that. His voice is so versatile. And you mentioned Angel's Son earlier.
Yes. Yeah. And that was, yeah, go ahead.
That was from Animosity. By the way, it's a tribute to a friend of his who was in a band, Snot, Lynn Strait. This was Sevendust's tribute to him, and just a beautiful, moving song. One of the reasons I like Animosity so much is I feel this one is where Lejean's voice really starts to develop as someone who can not just rock hard, because he definitely can. I mean, if you listen to the first album,
Yes. And that's the one that I remember more than anything else is their
Black,
first. Yeah.
Bitch, what else? My Ruin is a good one.
Yes.
That one is pretty much heavy all the way through. Second album, Home, that's where he's starting to develop. But I feel like Animosity is where he really nails it on songs like Angel's Son, Christmas Day, Live Again.
Yep. Live Again.
Still rocking, Praise and songs like that. But yeah, he says, I saw an interview with him just today where he says he feels like Seasons, which is the one after Animosity, is the one where he really, really came into his own as a vocalist. But I think he was already there with Animosity. Seasons is a great album too.
I'll have to check it out. There's probably songs on Seasons that I know because you and I probably played it, right? And
Maybe.
so,
I'm trying, let's see. It's 2004. So
right.
we'd already
We might have missed
graduated.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, obviously we played Animosity. We probably played some stuff from Home,
Yes.
like Denial, Waffle. I remember playing that one. That was a
Yep.
huge one for us. We played Waffle and played the earlier ones like Black.
Maybe this is it. Maybe Sevendust is just enough metal that it's not going to catch on like an alternative or a modern rock station. I was looking at other bands like Shinedown and Stained and 3 Days Grace and Seether are all other bands that you could put on the same bill with Sevendust, and they've shared the same stages before on different things. They should go together. But Sevendust isn't going to make it on the radio, but 3 Days Grace is, right? Like
I don't get it, because see, to me, Sevendust is a little more radio friendly than something like 3 Days Grace. I actually I hate the vocals of 3 Days Grace. They just grate on me.
And like another lead vocalist that I know that they've worked together. I don't know if they've collaborated, but Disturbed, they were gigantic. And I mean, I know they got a resurgence because of American Idol, but again, Sevendust was right up there with them. Like great vocals, heavy music, like it does not compute. And I'm waiting with their new album. I'm waiting for like the UFC to cut a promotional video using their song Unbreakable off the new album. Like it's gonna happen. To me, that's like a foregone conclusion. Like
that is an easy pump up song. Unbreakable.
Yeah. And the funny part is there's another mixed martial art promotion called One, and the album's called One. Somebody somewhere, somebody should just be like, yeah, we need to use this. Yeah. Same target audience, same demographic, like shared culture, like that should totally happen. I'm waiting for that for sure.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier how there was an era of Sevendust albums that I absolutely love. And then after a while, kind of fell off where I was like, I like it, but it's not resonating as strongly. This new album, I'm liking it a lot. Like, I don't know where I would rank it. It's only been out for like 5 days, but it is one of my favorite in a long time. Big part is the strength of the singles. So Unbreakable, awesome. Is This the Real You? That is one of their biggest hooks I've heard in a long time. It is just super catchy, but it's still like it's a good hard rocker. And they played 3 new songs when I saw them, and they fit in perfectly with everything else.
It's kind of like people. So we're going to go in the deep end for a minute.
Do it.
There isn't really a you. Okay.
Mhm.
Like, we like to think that there's a self, but there is no self. So parts of you will like fade in and out of importance in terms of like who you are, who you present yourself to be to other people. But underneath it all is enough of a pattern that people can recognize, like, oh, that's Matt, or
Mhm.
oh, that's Brian. And it's Sevendust is one of those bands where it's like if you put it on, it'd be like, oh, that's Sevendust. It doesn't matter which album it is, but there's enough variation in the albums that it's different and distinct and they're their own thing. You know the pattern enough to know that's Sevendust. It's kind of the same thing as like with people. Like you might not hang out with somebody for a very long time, and there's going to be things that are different about them the next time you run into them, but you know the pattern enough to be like, oh, that's still so and so, even though there's nothing really there. We're all just an amalgamation of all these little parts and pieces that present one way or another at any given time. It's the same thing with bands. Like we talked about it with COC. All the COC albums, it's like, okay, that's Corrosion of Conformity, but there's some albums that it's like, wow, that's different for them, but you still know it's them.
Yeah. Before we started, I had mentioned a YouTube channel, the
Yeah, yeah.
Heavy Metal Philosophy,
Yep.
and he did a video about Sevendust being underrated
Oh, really?
this few years ago, and he said one of the reasons that he thinks they're so great is their consistency. They've never gone way out there with experimentation and done a prog album. Like, you always know it's going to be good. He described them as the AC/DC of new metal.
Yeah. You
Because
know,
AC/DC, like, you always know what you're going to get. Maybe the new album's not going to blow you away, but you know it's going to be good. You know it's going to rock.
yeah, you know that you pretty much know the themes they're going to talk about,
Yeah.
right? And you know, maybe that's a counter argument. I heard somebody say about the kids TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh, it was Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill was one of the voice actors on it. And when he read the script, he was like, there's no way this is going to be successful. It's way too smart. Like it's almost like too sophisticated for the audience. He was like, there's no way. And it's got a huge cult following. They're releasing a new series. I kind of feel like Sevendust, from the stuff that I've listened to over the last month getting ready for this show, this is going to be mean, but it's not mean at them. It's just mean at the genre or the scene. They're not always bitching about mom. They're not sad that dad, like they have some of those themes, but
Yep.
it's not crude enough that it's going to hit the lowest common denominator,
Mhm.
right? It is
Right.
just smart enough that maybe that's why it's not resonating, because their frequency that they're vibrating at is a little bit higher. Their lyrics have some depth to them. They cover a lot of different topics. It's not always the same. It's always the same sound. It's always the
Yeah.
same present, but it's not always the same thing.
Right.
And there's like a hopefulness to their music too, which I think parallels with the Ronnie James Dio thing that we mentioned earlier. Like there's a little bit of hope underneath it. It's not all the world
Not
is
all
going
doom
to
and gloom.
shit and it's my fault and like
Yeah.
you know, like yeah, there's a little bit of hopefulness. So maybe that's another reason.
Yeah. Another thing that contributes to them having somewhat of a different sound, like it's consistent, but is different, is they have multiple vocalists. So Lejean is doing most of the work as a lead singer, but they've got the drummer, Morgan Rose,
Yep.
providing some screams. And, you know, some of the other guys are doing backup vocals. And that just gives the songs different layers, just kind of a different depth of experience when Lejean sings something in his voice, which even when it's a little growly, it's still pretty clean. And then you've got Morgan in the back just screaming some
Yeah,
little thing that gives it like a little exclamation point on whatever Lejean just said.
that's really smart. And I think that more bands should do that. So,
Mhm.
Mastodon does that. It does. It gives it some diversity within the music itself that to keep you attentive because it's like, there's another vocal part that came in here. COC did that in their album Into the Arms of God. They've got
Yep.
different vocals going on that make it a lot deeper, a lot more rich. So that's pretty cool. That's a good observation that
Yeah.
they do that. Does it show up in the production like as much as it does live? Like is maybe that part of it too? Um
Like, are they
like
doing that in the studio?
like I know it's probably in the studio, but like do you notice it when you're listening versus
Oh
when
yeah.
you're listening live? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You definitely. I mean, you hear it across a lot of their albums. Next, which was their fifth album, it's pretty prominent on that one. That back and forth just gives it a really cool dynamics.
And that's an old thing, like call and answer. Yeah, that's an old musical tradition.
It
Like
is.
that's a good or call and response. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We got away from it, but Sevendust just keeps it going.
And you mentioned Snot earlier,
Yeah,
with the tribute with Angel Son. I listened to the Snot album because of that. Their
yeah,
first one. Lejean was talking about how like he listened to everything as a kid. You mentioned he was in a funk band, like he liked jazz. You
yep,
can hear some of the jazz influence in Snot songs. And so you can see where they would have been friends, right? Because it wasn't, again, you think Snot, you think new metal, but like there was other stuff going on in that music. And maybe the complexity makes it harder for people to get into because there's all these things to notice. Or maybe it's a slow burn. Maybe it's one of those things that you have to listen to on repeat and you're like, you're going to find something new every time.
yeah. I don't know if you remember this. Speaking of Lynn Strait, there was a whole tribute album to him. So Lynn Strait died in a car accident, December of 1998. Straight up
I
was,
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it was released by Snot in 2000, but there was a lot of big metal musicians, mostly in the new metal scene, who were part of that, featuring alongside Snot on these songs like Serge Tankian, Jonathan Davis, Max Cavalera, Brandon Boyd from Incubus, Ozzy Osbourne has a spoken word track. Yeah, I forgot about this. So there is a version of Angel Sun on there.
When I was prepping for this, I wrote down that Incubus, their older stuff, would have been a nice pairing to listen to after you listen to Sevendust because of Brandon's vocals. And so
Yeah.
it's funny that he's on that album and that there's that connection there. And again, Incubus is another one of those bands. Like they went all over the map, but they have some really like jazz funk influence to their music underneath. And so I can see why they would have had that shared friend in
Yeah.
Lynn Street. There's a guy I follow on Instagram called Too Buff for This, and
Was that
he-
too buff for this?
Too Buff for This. He's super funny, and he
Great
does
name.
like reaction videos. So it'll be like a guy at the gym like doing pull-ups, and then you're like, oh, well, that's okay. He's doing pull-ups, but then you realize he's doing pull-ups with a bar with 245s on each side, and he's holding both at the same time and then pressing up like he's like what the so he does reaction videos and I jokingly was like I guarantee that Too Buff for This either listened to or listens to Sevendust just based off his personality, so we'll have to find out if he ever sees his video if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Just want to throw it out there. So one of their albums lost out for a Grammy with Ghost. And I found it ironic
Hmm.
because Ghost won and Sevendust lost the Grammy nomination. But we talked about how much alike or what an influence Ronnie James Dio is on Sevendust. And Ghost totally lifted that sound. And like
Yeah.
they won the Grammy for it, but it's an influence for Sevendust. I was like, oh, that's gotta sting. Like, so I noticed that too. I thought that was kind of wild. I was like, huh. The other band that I thought of was Godsmack because they were huge right around the same time. And that's a completely different vocal feel. But the music sounds enough alike that it's like, yeah, if you're a Godsmack fan, there's no reason why you shouldn't like some Sevendust songs or vice versa. Um,
Yeah,
And again,
definitely.
I think Godsmack got the same bad rap as the other new metal folks. Kind of like Stained. Like, I don't know that Stained was ever truly new metal,
Right.
but that's another band. Like, if you like Sevendust or you like Stained, you probably listen to the other one. You probably think,
Absolutely. I mean, Aaron
yeah,
Lewis is on Animosity.
right. Do you remember what track it was?
Yeah, track 8, Follow.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So Aaron Lewis is on there. Quick aside about Godsmack. People give him crap, and sure, maybe because they have a song called "Crying Like a Bitch" with an exclamation point. I don't know, and they think it's kind of basic, but I would say don't write them off completely. Listen to their album 4. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic album. Also, oh, their acoustic album. They did
Did
that
real well.
acoustic EP. Yeah, that was amazing. And I've seen Godsmack live, but I've also seen Sully Erna
By
live
himself.
by himself at the Flynn Theater in Burlington, Vermont. Phenomenal show. Like I didn't know what to expect going in there. I thought it would just be he's going to sit down with a guitar and play Godsmack songs. That is not what
Not
he
what
did.
happened.
It was a one man show. He was talking in between every song. He was telling stories. I mean, it wasn't just in between banter. There was storytelling. That's how Godsmack got their name. Some were funny stories. Some were like deeper meanings. At one point, he was just musing about the minor key. And he's like,
Right.
why does music make us feel certain things? And why, do I feel happy when he played one note? And then
Yeah.
he goes, and why do I feel sad when I hear this? And he played like an E minor or something. And he didn't have the answer. He was just kind of talking with us. He was playing piano. He did a tribute to recently deceased musicians that he loved. And then he ended the show by playing Hey Jude.
Right.
And at the end, I think he had someone else playing piano so he could just grab the microphone and sing and walk through the crowd, and people are singing along to the na 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 until the show was over. Sully Erno he's a fantastic musician. And so whatever you think of Godsmack, like don't write them off.
I just had a weird thought.
Yeah.
So the charisma thing, like very clearly, Sully's got a lot of charisma, right?
Yeah.
And some lead vocalists do and some don't. Live, their lead singer is like notoriously charismatic. Like I saw them live at Meadowbrook. I saw live.
Yep, me too.
Some of their stuff is hard enough that I wouldn't say that it couldn't go in with Disturbed or Sevendust, right?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting how that charisma presents itself in a crowd and what that looks like. What was Lejean like on stage?
Great stage presence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he had charisma, and I've watched interviews with him. He's not just a singer, he's a front man.
Yeah. And
So again, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Like they should be much huger than they are. Like
They really should. Yeah. Oh, and back to the Godsmack connection. And we mentioned the acoustic album that they did. Sevendust did a similar thing.
oh
They
yeah.
put out, yeah, they put out an album where it was all acoustic songs. Some of them were versions of their other songs, and some were brand new. Man, that's where you really see what a great singer Lejean is. And so if you're not into metal, which if you're not, I'm not sure why you've been listening to this podcast for a half an hour, but
There are
thank you,
some
Mrs. Harvey.
Yeah, thanks, Mrs. Harvey. I was going to say
Yes.
there are some people who love us or just listening for us.
Yeah. So tell your mom to to listen to Time Travelers and Bonfires.
Time Travelers and Bonfires.
Acoustic album. They recorded it in 2014. Great stuff on there.
Oh, and I didn't realize these poor guys, they had to change their band name 3 times because of legal issues with other bands before they settled on Sevendust. I was like, I'm sure
Is that why they were changing the name?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize the reasons, but I do know that, yeah, they changed. They were Rumblefish and Crawl Space.
Yep. Crawl Space, like, basically was wanted like financial retribution for stealing their name. And it was another band.
Although I don't know how they didn't get in trouble for Sevendust, because that's the name of a like a pesticide or something.
No, that's even better. Yeah, Seven, an insecticide powder in his grandmother's garage.
Sevin
Yeah.
dust. Insecticide dust. Yeah. That's what they named him out after. One of the guys in the band saw a can of that stuff and he's like, that would make a cool name.
Oh, and here's a weird connection. So we were talking about the Hampton Beach Ballroom Casino.
Yeah.
Lejean heard that his brother Reginald was shot fatally at age 23 in Nashville,
Yeah.
Tennessee, right before they went on stage and performed at Hampton Beach in New Hampshire. So like that's another one of those weird universe moments kind of knitting things together.
How is it that we have brought up the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom in like every episode so far?
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I've
It's
been there
weird.
twice and neither of them were metal shows. And like, but you didn't even get to go in and COC was playing there when you were a kid. You just
Yeah.
happened to be there on a vacation. Have you ever heard Bill Burr talk about Hampton Beach?
No.
It's ruthless. like, like just the white trash Riviera.
Spent many a summer there. So
yeah. Oh, it's funny. I try not to take my kids there, but they'll go with their mom sometimes. Early in the morning when I'm not around on like a weekend or something. I try to go to one of the fancier beaches up north more.
Man, you gotta slum at
a
Hampton Beach sometime.
But when I was a kid, I loved Hampton Beach. I loved all like the horrible, maybe I'm still into it, right? They'd have horrible like t-shirt shops that had like, bleeding skulls and stuff that you could buy.
So much airbrushed stuff. And I remember there was all these like sexual puns.
Yes.
Like what was it, like Big Johnson's or something?
Yeah.
Like Big Johnson's Bar and Casino, liquor up front, poker in the rear.
Yeah.
How do I still remember that from when I was 10 years old?
Because when you were 10, you were like, oh, wow.
I was like, oh, that's the funniest thing ever.
First fake earrings I ever got, Hampton Beach. Right? Chain wallet. I think the first chain wallet I got was Hampton Beach. There's a lot of bad decisions that happened.
Yeah. I got some, very cheap jewelry there. I think I had like a peace sign or something.
Yeah. It's like, to be young and dumb again. Another band, I don't know how you feel about this one that I thought about was Breaking Benjamin.
I haven't listened to a ton of them.
Yeah. And I remember them again from the same time period. But
here's one. Do you remember Ra? R.A.?
Yeah.
They were pretty cool. And I think they're still kicking, but I haven't listened to them in a long time. But I do remember, I think they put their first album out in 2002. They had that song, Do You Call My Name? They were really interesting.
Well, and I think one of the bands that doesn't get enough credit as kind of kicking off the whole nu metal thing is Sepultura.
Yep.
Like that sound, I think got lifted and it got a little gentrified or colonized or whatever way you want to say it, but and became mainstream US culture. And so I'd like to go back and I'd like to revisit a Sepultura album on this podcast. Because they're another band, like if you like Sevendust, like there's stuff in Sepultura that you'll like just as much. And that's another good reference. I don't think they get enough credit for influencing a lot of the nu metal bands as much as they did.
No, definitely. Also, Soulfly.
Yes.
Where after the Cavalera brothers had their split and Max left Sepultura to do Soulfly, especially the early albums. Like nowadays, it's a little more leaning toward death metal, just like more straight up metal. But there was a lot of, there was rapping. They had a song with Corey Taylor on it called "Jump to Fuck Up." It doesn't get much more nu metal than when you have a song where it's called "Jump to Fuck Up," all one word.
Yeah, seriously, I remember that one. I remember playing that one. It's a shame that as much as the 70s gets associated with disco, I think the late 90s gets associated with nu metal, and Sevendust was right at the end of that, like right at the peak. So nu metal peaks and then it drops off in the early 2000s. And it was like right around 1999, that was like peak nu metal. Because when did Woodstock? Yeah, it was 99, right?
Woodstock 99, and Sevendust was there.
Yeah. It's just unfair. that they got lumped in with that. And I mean, and that's why Deftones wouldn't tour with Korn. They were trying to think long term, and like they didn't want to ride the wave and then get associated with it and then die. So even though I think it was Korn and somebody else tried to get Deftones to go on tour with them, and they were like, because we all wanted that. I remember talking to people about that at that time. It was like,
Yeah, of course.
like why don't they tour together? Chino talked about that. It was like, well, I don't know when that bubble's going to burst. I don't want to be around it when it does.
He was smart. Although, ironically, Korn is still around.
Right. They have a new single out.
Yeah.
Right. Just like people revisit their older music, because you grow up listening to stuff and then you're exposed to it from your parents or whatever. And then like your kids get exposed to music through you. Both my kids like Slipknot. And I remember being hesitant to put it on. Be like, oh, okay. Yeah, they both know who that is and they both like that music. And so they'll know about it and they listen to it. One of the albums that we're going to talk about in a future podcast, we're going to talk about Lionheart. My 12-year-old loves Lionheart. It pumps her up before jiu-jitsu. She gets all excited to go, and that's what we listen to when we're pulling in the parking lot. It's like, okay,
that's awesome.
Go roll, kid. Yeah. So I think some of these bands that are going to release albums now, there's going to be a whole new generation of people like this new Sevendust album that are going to get exposed to them, and the whole catalog comes with it. And I'm grateful that it's not like the new Megadeth album, right? Ooh. Okay.
I do want to talk about Megadeth at some point, and I'm going to pick a good one, like Rust in Peace, because I don't want to dwell on the new Megadeth album, but we are going to have to talk about it.
Yeah, and they're another band. Like my kids know who Megadeth is, but we're not listening to the new album, right? Like there's no reason to. And you can't make that argument with this new Sevendust album. It's great.
It is.
Because they're consistent and they've been doing it forever and they've never stopped.
And I guess the theme of this episode has been, why were Sevendust not as big as we think they should have been? And we have no answer.
No,
but sometimes, hey, in the words of the great philosopher Uncle Cracker.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
Being underrated's underrated.
My dad told me something like similar to that. He's like, there's nothing wrong with mediocre. Like, mediocrity is okay. He's like, it's not a big deal to be average.
Was that his idea of a pep talk for you?
Yeah, he's good for stuff like that. Just settle. You're doing okay. Take some of the pressure off, right? Like,
yeah.
And TBT Records, I feel like there was some kind of controversy with them.
Yes.
They fell apart, I feel like, when we were in college. Like, they got real big. And the other thing is, we talked about this one of the past episodes. I was impressed. Sevendust albums don't sound old.
No.
Like, we were talking about the production quality.
Yeah. And maybe the first one. You can tell the production is late 90s, but not like super dated.
No, I felt like Animosity. Like, if you just put that on, I'd be like, oh, okay. When was this recorded? I wouldn't be able to place it. You can place it based on when the genre was big, but like you wouldn't be able to place the recording quality or the production quality on when it was. Right. I was surprised when one of their big producers was a former member of Twisted Sister. I was like, what? Okay, tell me more. Yeah, self-titled debut album was produced by Twisted Sister member guitarist JJ French. And so I was trying to see what other albums JJ French produced. On his Wikipedia page, there are Judas Priest, Foreigner, but that fits because of LeJean's vocals, right? Like in the 80s, I feel like the vocalists sang more. It became untrendy, kind of like nu metal became untrendy and nobody wanted to do anything that sounded like nu metal. Nu metal was a reaction to hair metal and nobody wanted to do anything that sounded like hair metal. But Sevendust was still singing, like legit singing with a really amazing singer. Maybe that's another reason why they just weren't as huge as they should have been. Because they didn't follow that like reactionary trend where it was like, no, we're going to do vocals a different way now. Yeah, we don't know why Sevendust isn't huge. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be. And Animosity is a good album. It's got 3 solid singles on it. And it's got a cameo with Aaron Lewis. And
Yeah. And then, I mean, there are songs I didn't even mention today that I love, like Dead Set. That
yeah,
one has an awesome chorus. To me, it's almost similar to Waffle, maybe not quite as big as that one. I love that one. Dead Set, Christmas Day.
like the bands they played with, they've played with Metallica, Ted
Hmm.
Nugent, Kid Rock. Oh, the Tattoo the Earth tour. So I think
Oh
Head
yeah.
PE was on there. That's another band. Like if you like Sevendust, you'll probably like Head PE, and that's probably very dated. Like I don't know that that holds up anymore, but like
I haven't
at
listened
the,
to Head B in a very long time.
but it was really
I
good at the time. Oh, I forgot about that song, Enemy. '03 was when Seasons came out, so I think
Oh yeah,
we
that's right.
did
Oh
play it.
three.
Enemy, I remember that track. I remember playing
Okay.
that track, and that was on WWE. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
you're a huge WWE fan,
I am. Not so much these days.
right?
I've kind of soured on them in recent weeks with some of the stuff that they've been doing.
Oh,
But
I haven't been following the WWE news. Um, the only thing I've heard about them is like the same conglomerate that owns the UFC owns WWE.
and that's
Uh,
what the problem is. It's just like
oh,
greed is causing them to release talented wrestlers and just I won't go on a whole tirade about that. All I'll tell you is after we're done recording here, I'm going to watch AEW Dynamite. That's AEW is my wrestling jam right now.
all right.
Okay.
So wait a
Um,
minute. AEW, what does it stand for? American Wrestling,
it's all elite wrestling.
All Elite Wrestling.
Probably the one name you would know from that is Chris Jericho.
Oh, he's still around. He's
Still around. Yeah, he's in his
wow.
50s.
So is he like a manager now? Like,
No, he is still wrestling.
let's go. Like, till your knees give out. Go for it. Good for
Dude
him.
is yeah, he's still getting it done. I think we should have an episode sometime where we do best metal music that has been featured in pro wrestling because there have been whether entrance music or other things, there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah, I mean, let us know in the comments if that sounds like something that you'd be into, and we'll do it. Like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And I know that there's probably a lot of people who are like super passionate about that. Was it American Badass? Did
Yes.
Undertaker come out to
Undertaker
that?
used that
Yeah,
for
yeah.
for
That's
a
the
couple of years, yeah.
that's the only one that comes into my head. So like that tells you how little WWE I know. But if we want to do a whole episode on it, I'm sure you can carry that.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gonna have to get you caught up on that because there's a lot more to wrestling metal than American Badass.
right. My mom listens to the show because she loves me, and I watch WWE because I love Matt. Like that was basically how it worked.
Yes.
Like, okay, he's into this. I'll get into it. So in 2007, TBT lost a $9 million lawsuit to Slip and Slide Records in Florida. And that's when TBT, the label, went under. And they were one of the first labels to put the entire catalog available, downloading for free, streaming by fans in 2001 after an amicable arrangement with Napster. So you wonder why Animosity didn't go to gold? It's because guys like me and you were streaming it for free in their college dorm room. And,
Whoops.
and Sevendust wasn't getting paid. Like, so I think we accidentally stumbled onto why isn't Sevendust bigger than they should have been?
Oh, mystery solved.
Mystery solved. Oops. It was us and our generation downloading music for free off LimeWire and Napster that made it so that Sevendust couldn't be successful.
I bought a concert ticket a couple weeks ago, so
You
I
made it
up
up to him. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad we listened. I'm glad you made me listen to Animosity. The other good thing about listening to Sevendust is I realized, again, because they weren't huge, I don't have the association in my head with that time frame. Right.
Mhm.
And so it's like, oh, okay. Like I can listen to it and it doesn't take me back to 2001. Because they weren't everywhere all the time. It wasn't ubiquitous. I think that matters because, you know, there are certain things you want to listen to revisit things, and then there's like, nope, I don't want to go back. Don't bring me back there. so yeah, it was a good listen. I'm glad you recommended it.
Cool. Well, I'm glad too. Yeah. And yeah, definitely check out some of their other music. Like I said, my favorite, probably the first 5, 6 albums. That was my favorite time period, but they've got a lot of other good ones.
And their
And
new
I'm
album.
really digging this new one, One.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good stuff. Well, let's do this. Since we've been talking about the new metal era, we've been talking about a band that couldn't figure out why they didn't get as big as we thought they would. Here's what I thought we'd close out with.
Okay.
For the past couple episodes, we've been using a song by Split Shift, Family Affair, as our intro outro music. We've just been playing a snippet. Let's give the listeners the entire song this week.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure we'll talk about them more in the future. There's a lot more to tell, but I'll just tell you this. Look for this band Split Shift. They only put out 2 albums in the early 2000s. Good stuff. We've seen them live. They were awesome. Not sure why they didn't fully make it. I thought they had the stuff, but you know, stuff happens. Still got some good tunes, and so we're going to close out today with Family Affair.
Awesome. Did we see them? Was it Amherst?
We saw them in Springfield.
That's That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny story about that. So is that the show I brought my brother to?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I hope not, because it was at a strip club.
Oh, I vaguely remember that night. There's a couple things I remember, but do you remember the pimp that we met? Yeah, I remember him.
Yes.
He stands out. He
had a great outfit.
He had a great outfit. Was he missing gold teeth, or did he have gold teeth?
That I cannot remember.
No, it must have been another show. Yeah, we went to this one show, and I brought my brother, and we drove down to see you in Massachusetts. And these were the days before Google Maps.
Yeah.
And so we did some turns, and we got a little lost, and the MapQuest directions weren't working out. And he's like, "How are we going to find this place?" And there were 10 dudes standing on the sidewalk with black baseball caps that were on backwards and black t-shirts. And I went, "That's where we're going." Those are my people. And sure enough, we parked the truck and we walked in and we were in the right spot. It's like, it was the time of new metal. And it was wild.